Okay. All right. Well, welcome everybody. We are here in our Sacramento headquarters for Red Rover at our May board meeting. So I am joined by a wonderful group of our board directors. So thank you for joining us. We are recording this, and so to everybody who is going to be viewing this later, thank you so much for taking a view of this. I'm really, really excited to share our 2024 year with you all. Before we get started, I do want to have Erin introduce herself real quick, because if you are a member with us, then you have most likely interacted with Erin or her team on some level. So Erin.
Yeah, hi, I'm Erin Bielecki. I'm the Director of Development. I've been with RedRover for about 18 years. So for those of you who have been longtime members, you've probably seen my name a lot. So I'm the person who just kind of handles all things fundraising, membership. If you ever have any questions, please feel free to email me or reach out. I'll put my email in the chat. And I'm always here if you have questions. And thank you for joining us today.
Thanks so much, Erin. And then again, for those of us who are joining us live, if you have any trouble, if you have, any issues with anything, please feel free to shout it out or send us a Zoom chat message, and Susie will do her best to get us going with that. And let's get going. So there are going to be a couple of videos in here. I will prompt when those videos are coming. Erin, I will lean on you if there are any issues with like sound or anything on your end, since you are not in the office with us. So here we go. A little bit of our game plan for today. We're just going to quickly review our mission, sort of the foundation of really what drives our work here. I'm excited to share our impact with you all. So we're going to do that by looking at the numbers, but I'm also really, really excited to share that in 2024, we hired a new staff person. Mike is our content and communications and content coordinator. And he is just a wonderful, wonderful storyteller via video. And so I'm really excited to help tell our story today via video. We'll, of course, review our 2024 financials. And we also have a little bit of an opportunity to hear from some of our team members about, just our work at Red Rover, and what your support means for us and being able to do it. This is not our official vision statement, but this is something that Erin actually shared with me a while ago. And I think it really does kind of capture what our vision is here at Red Rover right now, and that we really are working to create a more compassionate world for animals and the people who love them. And so hopefully you really can see and feel that come through as we talk about our impact. Our mission is to bring animals from crisis to care. We do that by helping animals in crisis and protecting and strengthening the bond between people and animals through emergency sheltering, disaster relief services, financial assistance, and education. And we will go through each of our programs in a little bit more detail, and we'll tell you, a little bit more about what we do in each of those programs. So let's talk about our impact in 2024. Here are 3 programs. So we'll first talk about Red Rover Responders, which is where we provide a lot of emergency disaster, temporary disaster services. So when there is a hurricane, when there is a tornado, when there is a wildfire, and we are asked to come in and support, we can send a team of volunteers to actually go out and provide that daily care for animals. We'll talk a little bit about our expanding community programs work under responders. We'll also talk about our Red Rover Relief Program, which on one side provides that funding for urgent veterinary care, but it's also where all of our domestic violence assistance work lives. And we'll talk about our Red Rover Readers Program, which is really about teaching children to be more compassionate and empathetic people for animals and other people as well. So we'll talk about that. I did just really kind of want to touch on this text you see over here on the left, which says our programs are centered on preserving the human-animal bond and a commitment to lead with compassion, empathy, and curiosity. With this foundation, we strive to meet people, animals, and communities where they're at without judgment. We just wrapped up our staff retreat here the last 2 days, Wednesday and Thursday of this week. And we asked our staff to really kind of share, what is it that inspires you about Red Rover? And I wrote this before we did that exercise with staff. And it was really, really cool because this is a lot of like what came through for our staff. In that, we really do try and meet people where they're at. And do that by being as non-judgmental as we can. We realize that's a process. Being non-judgmental never ends. There is no, ending point. It is a practice that we really, really try and engage in. And so it was really, really, I think, cool to see this kind of come out in our staff retreat. So this really leads into like all of the work that we do through all of the programs. And I think it also really reflects how we treat each other as a team and hopefully as board directors as well. So just wanted to share that bit of foundation for our work. This is our first video, Erin. So let's see how it goes. It's a very, very short video. This was a video that is actually running in a media spot here in Sacramento. I think it's KCRA 3 in Sacramento. They're giving us a free media spot through the rest of this year, 2025. And so the team created this really quick video just designed to give just a really high overarching view of all of our programs. All right, so I am going to hit play, Erin. Yep, I knew that was going to happen. Hold on one second. I knew it. Okay, so what I need to do, I'm going to stop sharing and then I will reshare because there is a special button I have to hit. So one second. Yes. Okay. Here. All right, here we go. Share sound, optimize for video sharing. Okay, Erin, you should be seeing the video again, right?
Yep.
All right, cool. Thank you. Because I also can't see you now, so thank you for saying that verbally. And here we go.
Yeah.
I really love that video because it actually touches on every single one of our programs. While it may be a little brief, it absolutely touches on everything that we do here at Red Rover. And I'm so excited for us in 2025 to really lean into this storytelling a little bit more. We absolutely couldn't do this work without our members, and you'll hear that from our team here in a few minutes. And so we really, really want to like welcome our members into that impact and into those stories that you help make possible. And so I think we're all really, really excited for what's to come in terms of storytelling over the next year. So let's take a look at the numbers a little bit. So again, these are all 2024 numbers. I'll call out where we have something like an all-time number for you. But in 2024, we helped 2,541 animals through providing 2,960 volunteer hours that happened through 13 different deployments. We sent 70 volunteers out into various communities. We trained 84 volunteers, and we worked with 10 partner organizations in that work. Since 1987, we have deployed 290 times, and that number, I think that's just a 2024 number. So that number has already increased, I think, by about 3 or 4 in 2025 already. It's been a busy year for the responders team. But those deployments range from disaster sheltering to the unchaining, so where we're helping to get dogs off of chains and into safe outdoor enclosures, which you got to see some of that in the video. Our volunteers often share that that is one of their favorite parts of the unchaining, is that moment where you got to see that dog or those dogs like in that safe enclosure, and the happiness like on their faces is really, really cool. We have also in the last year and this year already, we've been doing more of what we generally call access to vet care work. And so we're actually able to send volunteers out to support local communities in providing like some of that basic veterinary care. The vaccinations, doing those like really like brief overview, like, hey, is this pet healthy and okay? And on occasion, when we're able to secure the funding, we're also able to provide some spay and neuter vouchers. So I love this work because we're helping communities build trust with their own community members, right? And so we're supporting that local organization that is already there. We're supporting them, building that trust with those community members who are coming through and getting those services. And when we can build trust, it means that those pet parents are going to come back to those community organizations when they need that support to keep their pets with them. A lot of our work really is about keeping people with their pets, right? These pets have loving homes, and sometimes they just need a little bit of support. So we've done more of that in 2024. We've done more of that in 2025. And it's, I think, really, really exciting work for us. And of course, we also have our domestic violence shelter builds. So when we partner with Greater Good Charities, we're actually going out to domestic violence shelters and creating those pet-friendly spaces at those shelters. So again, people can stay with their pets because we know how important they are in that healing process. And we also know that those pets may be harmed as a part of the power and control of domestic violence. So that's by the numbers for our responders program. I wanted to pull out one of the quotes from last year, 2024. So one of our RedRover responders volunteers shared, being one of the first people the dog saw in the morning was the highlight of my day. And I'm not a morning person. They were so happy to see us and just wanted love and affection. And I loved seeing them come out of their shells. So this came from one of our cruelty cases last year. So we didn't see that in the video because that's a little bit harder for us to be able to share for really good reasons. So our volunteers are sometimes the first like human interaction that some of these pets in a cruelty situation may ever have. And they are wonderful, wonderful volunteers who understand that, hey, I may not get to go and cuddle these animals. I'm just going to be that consistent, compassionate, empathetic presence for this animal. And so you will often hear from our volunteers, we got to see those animals move from the back of the crate to the front of the crate. And it's this like real visual representation of trust that is happening between animal and people. And so I really, really loved this quote. And so I wanted to share that with you all. And we do have another video. So this was one of our thank you videos that was sent out to all of our responders, volunteers, actually this year. So Volunteer Week was just a couple weeks ago. And so the team put this video together. So here we go. Aaron, let me know if it doesn't work. Hit and play now. So that video was actually created before the end of 2024, now that I saw the numbers. So you got the updated numbers. We added a deployment in after this video was created. But again, just kind of want to, help you actually see what the responders' work looks like when they're in the field. I'll also share, one of my favorite things about the responders program is also that our volunteers don't have to come with any kind of skills. Really, they just have to come with, and I'm going to steal this from somebody that we just had a conversation with. They just need to come with an open heart. And then we will teach them like what they need to do on the ground, whether that's building something, whether that is, animal care, like any of it. Our volunteers truly do just come with an open heart whenever they come on deployment. So that is our RedRover Responders program. We are going to transition into our RedRover Relief Urgent Care program. So in 2024, we provided $157,972 in grants to help 553 animals in need of emergency veterinary care. We received a total of 5,810 applications over the year. By far, this is one of our most, we'll call it popular programs. So one of our most needed programs. We are not able to meet all of the application needs that come in, but I'm really proud to say that every application that comes in receives some sort of support information resources. We have a really, really extensive list of additional resources when we're not able to help. And I think one of the most important things that our case managers provide is that compassionate and empathetic voice when a pet parent needs it the most. We know that these are pet parents who are really facing, difficult decisions and difficult experiences with their pets needing emergency veterinary care that they can't financially cover on their own. And we know that there can be a lot of judgment around that. And so our case managers are absolutely that person who's like, I hear you. There's no need. I'm not judging you. We are not judging you. And I think that is truly one of the most important things that we can give to folks in that time of need. To date, we have supported 27,035 animals through the Urgent Care Grant Program. So this is, I think, a tremendous impact. 27,000 animals have been helped with a urgent care grant. I asked the team, so I don't have a video for this one, but I asked the team, we have permission to share these, some of their favorite cases from the year. And so I do have a couple of notes about each of them. So let me, so sorry. Let me just, bear with me. I'll put that back. Let me just pull up my notes real quick. So SAS, if I am remembering correctly, SAS was adopted. I believe their full name is Sassafras, was adopted and had a wound. And they thought it was a really minor wound. And then they came to realize that Sass actually had a minor bullet wound, an embedded bullet in her back, I think it was. And so their pet parent came to us and we were able to help Sass with a bullet wound. Jackson Avery is a 3-year-old cat who needed surgery. And his family has an incredibly close bond with him. Family called 21 clinics to find care for Jackson Avery. 21 clinics before they found a clinic that would work with them, and we were able to help fill that gap for Jackson Avery. That's really powerful to me that the pet parent called 21 clinics to try and get help for their pet. And then finally, we have Frodo, and I believe part of the reason why Frodo was a favorite because of Frodo's name. So they are The Hobbit, right? Yes. Yes, they're a Hobbit fan, our case manager on this one. And apparently he is always in a sweater vest, so he's probably a lot like my Chewy. So Frodo always has his sweater vest on. He had a bladder stone removal surgery, and he had to go on a special diet, and then he needed to have another surgery at the beginning of 2024. And we know that these things can happen, and when things pile up like that, it can be really, really hard. Frodo is now doing well. All of these pets are now doing really well, but these are some of the animals that were helped in 2024 through our urgent care program. Let's transition into our RedRover Relief domestic violence work. So in 2024, we provided 8,822 safe nights of boarding through our Safe Escape grant. So that's essentially where we help provide that boarding for the pets of a domestic violence survivor while they are in shelter. We also provided 27 safe housing grants in 2024 for a total of $1,105,789. So for just so everybody knows, our safe housing grants are those larger grants, so we can provide up to $60,000 to domestic violence shelters, animal shelters, and now homeless shelters to give them the funds and the support that they need to create their own program. So they don't need our Safe Escape grant program. 280 animals were helped through the Safe Escape grant program. So 280 animals received 8,822 safe nights of boarding. And through our Don't Forget the Pets project, which is a joint project of RedRover and Greater Good charities, and just through our own specific RedRover effort. So when we attend conferences, when we provide presentations, we trained over 3,000 people on the importance of incorporating pet housing programs and also how to do it. As you see here, we also launched our homeless shelter pilot grants program in 2024. So we received a pot of money that we were able to provide to homeless shelters to help them create their pet housing programs. And we're excited that we are awarded funds again in 2025. And we are really hoping that we can move out of the pilot stage and just make this a consistent part of our funding that we're able to provide in 2026. Since 2007, we've provided more than $6.5 million through our Safe Escape and Safe Housing Grants programs. So again, keeping people and their pets safe and together. Quote here from one of our Purple Leash Project donors. So Purple Leash Project is a partnership that RedRover has with Purina. We started this in 2019, and it's just been, I think, a tremendous partnership for us in terms of being able to raise awareness around this being an issue, that domestic violence survivors won't seek safety if they can't take their pet with them. But they are also a tremendous financial supporter of ours in actually providing those safe housing grants and in helping us actually provide the technical assistance and how to do that. We get some wonderful quotes from our Purple Leash Project donors. This is one of them. In honor of my soul dog, thank you for saving me. I think one thing that I really appreciate about Purple Leash Project, we see it in all of our programs, but I think we see it especially in the Purple Leash Project. We have a lot of survivors who actually donate to the Purple Leash Project. They find out about it, they donate, and this is very much a sentiment that you will hear. This idea of, I had a pet, I was able to be safe with my pet, now I'm donating so somebody else can have this opportunity. But there's also, some donors who did not have that. When they needed to leave an abuser. And so now they are taking the opportunity. I think it's really empowering for them to be able to say, hey, nobody else has to do this. They don't have to make that decision. I'm going to support them. So that is our RedRover Relief Domestic Violence Program. So really through readers and through relief, it is about sort of that crisis moment. So keeping people and their pets together, supporting folks through the crisis. And with our RedRover Readers program and our Kind News magazine, this is where we really get into, teaching our kids, right? And supporting our kids to be more compassionate and empathetic people. So in 2024, we reached 7,966 children through the Readers Program, and we trained 186 individuals. So generally, those individuals are teachers, they're humane educators, or they're volunteers who take the training. 97 readings were completed. So this program uses traditional children's books. They're animal themed. A curriculum comes with each of the books. And so then the reader knows, what questions to ask. And it's all based on, open-ended, non-judgmental questioning and conversation. We actually had 3 of our guides translated into Spanish through our partnership with the Forest School in South Texas. And so, the team is really working on making this accessible to folks, non-English speakers. 99.3% of the RedRover Readers Workshop participants would recommend this workshop. We hear a lot of this was transformative, like this really changes like how I approach not just conversations with children, but really ultimately conversations with just other people as well. To date, the RedRover Readers Program has reached 131,327 children. Right? A quote here from one of our readers educators. I believe the RedRover Readers curriculum has the potential to transform classrooms. It is not just about teaching kids to be kind. It is about helping them see the world through each other's eyes, which is the foundation of true inclusion. So pretty powerful stuff. All right, this is the last video. I know some of them have been a little clunky. So I think, Erin, let's see if we can maybe share links out with our follow-up email with the recording. I think that would be really helpful.
Yeah, can do.
Yeah, thanks, Erin. All right, here we go. Definitely a short one, but this was actually filmed in partnership with one of the organizations here in Sacramento that the Readers team has been working with, the Sacramento Native American Health Center. And they actually co-created a curriculum with SNAC that really represents their culture. And they actually went back and supported like some of their readings. So they've taught the kids how to actually do these readings in their community with these books that really represent them. And so it's really, really cool project. And so those were just some of the images from some of the readings that they've done over the last probably 2 years. I think they've been on this journey. So sorry. Here we go. Okay, Kind News Magazine, which is part of our readers program. So this is a magazine that can go into the classrooms. It can also go to individual homes. So it's a wonderful gift subscription if you have, if you have young kids in your life. In 2024, 287,441 children were reached through 2,914 Kind News subscriptions. So that includes classroom subs and also individual home subs as well. Since 2017, 1,786,316 children have been reached through the Kind News magazine alone. So just huge reach there. You'll see a couple of pictures of the Kind News Junior and the Kind News magazine. And each magazine is colorful and it has all different types of animals. This is a dog and cat because they were the best images that I could grab. But there are all different types of animals that are included in these magazines. There's quizzes, there's games, there's different learning opportunities. And it's just a wonderful magazine. I think, just designed to help teach kids again about animals and what it means to coexist in this world with animals. Our 2024 financials, and Erin, definitely, I'm going to go over this really quickly, but if there's anything that you just want to call out, please feel free to do so. No pressure, but just want to give you that opportunity. As far as our expense breakdown, here is all of our expenses for the year. I will call out that these are preliminary unaudited financial statements. We will be hearing the official, or we do have the official audited statements on the website. So total expenses for 2024, $6,411,211. You'll see the breakdown. So program is going to be up on top. So over 5 million. And then you'll have our supporting expenses down on the bottom. So 1.3 million. So we're roughly at about I did the math, 79.5% in program expenses right now. Erin, I'll just pause if there's anything you want to add here.
No, that sounds great.
Cool, thank you. And then on the income side of things, we brought in a total of 7.2 million. You'll see the breakdown here. Anything you would like to add on this, Erin?
Nothing other than just calling out this wonderful income from our special Forever Friends and monthly donors.
Yep.
Wonderful rainbow of support.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, thanks, Erin. I think I love seeing this graphic because it really does, I think, just show just the amazing support that we get from our members and from our folks across the country and really across the globe at times too. So there you go. As I mentioned, I had asked the team, very generally a couple of questions. And so I'm going to share some of their responses with you. I asked them, what one word comes to mind when you think about our members and our supporters? And so here's what they had to say. I'll just call out a couple of them. Dedicated, passionate, compassionate, engaged, invested, steadfast. Probably two of my favorites are change maker and essential. I think you'll see this really come through in some of the other comments that I share as well. When we say that we can't do this work without you, like we literally mean it. You are, I think, an essential part in the change that we are helping to create for animals and the people who love them. I asked them, what would you want to share with our members? So here's just a few of them. I have more, and so I think what we'll do is we'll share out the more in a wrap-up email. But a couple folks said, "Thank you so much for allowing me to do this work. My job is to help people and animals every day, and that's amazing. I hope you fully realize this fundamental truth. We couldn't do this work without you. Thank you for your belief, trust, and generosity. So together we can help pets and the people who love them. A heartfelt thank you. Because of you, we can answer more urgent calls for help, provide more safe escapes for families, and nurture empathy in more children." And then finally, we know there's a lot going on in the world right now and a lot of wonderful organizations we're supporting. So we are extra grateful that you choose to support our work. And finally, said it a couple of times already, we really thank you in joining us in this work to create a more compassionate world for the animals and people who love them. Obviously our members, our donors are a huge part of that. But I also think it's important to call out, our volunteers who help us do this work across the country. We have a wonderful group of partners who we do a lot of this work with. I also just want to give a special shout out and thank you to our staff and to our board who help us do this work and really, provide that guidance and vision, and then who actually do the work on a daily basis. It was a very exciting year in 2024, I believe. We're excited, I think, to look ahead to the rest of 2025. Kind of hard to believe that we're almost halfway through 2025. But a couple of things to call out looking ahead. Giving Tuesday is going to be Tuesday, December 2nd. So we will, of course, be sharing a lot about this via email on our social media. Domestic Violence Awareness Month is going to be in October. And we're going to be hosting, I think, a lot of great webinars and discussions around this. And so definitely stay tuned. We also have a lot of upcoming webinars. I don't have them listed here just because we're working out some of the final details. There is going to be a special meet and greet opportunity with me. And so just an opportunity to hop online, ask questions, just chat with me. We're going to be doing a responders webinar in August, a chance to learn more about the responders program, but likely also an opportunity to learn how you as an individual can be prepared for a disaster. So what you need to have ready to go. In September, we're going to be doing a special 25 by 2025 call. So 25 by 2025 is our campaign to help ensure that 25% of domestic violence shelters are pet friendly by the end of this year. So we're going to bring together a wonderful conversation around that end of September. I think those are all the big ones that we have coming up. And again, we'll share all the details very soon about, how to sign up for those, when they're going to be. I'm really, really excited to say that we are going to have a storefront launching soon. The team is hoping within the next couple of months, but it will be an opportunity for folks to buy some RedRover swag and show your support for us in that way. We have, I think, a couple wonderful shirts. I see them sitting around me right now. They're wonderful conversation starters, right? And then that's one way that you can really support us, by wearing the shirt and then having the conversation around why you support us at RedRover. And then generally, we're excited just for growth, and we're really, excited for just continued transparency. We've got a couple of exciting growth things coming very soon. So we'll officially share soon that through a generous donor, we're going to be able to provide some spay-neuter support to our urgent care grantees. So that's going to be something special that we can offer to those folks. And, again, that transparency piece, transparency is very, very important to us. It is, of course, part of the reason why we do this meeting every year. And we'll continue to just highlight that. And so really encourage folks, if you have questions, please join us for that meet and greet whenever we send out the info for it. And yeah, Susie, Aaron, anything that you want to add for 2025 and looking ahead? Cool.
So just add, excuse me, sorry, that one other webinar that we're going to be hosting, date TBD, is also a planned giving webinar that will kind of feature pet trusts. So that's something that I think would interest a lot of members as well.
Yes. Thanks, Aaron. I appreciate it.
Yep.
Yeah, well, I think we'll give you an overview of what and how and all that kind of good stuff. Yep. Thanks, Aaron. All right, next steps. If you are not already, really encourage you to follow us on social media. Really, really great way for you to help us spread the message. It means a lot when you as an individual share why you support RedRover. Become a volunteer if you are not already a volunteer. We would love to have you, be a volunteer for our RedRover Responders program, or even become a RedRover reader. And of course, if you haven't already, or if you want to add an additional donation, please, feel free. We do have a couple of new, and Aaron, I did not prompt you on this, but I'll ask you to share if you want anything else about this. But we have a really cool new way of supporting you in doing your own fundraisers. Aaron, you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so we've kind of put out in social media and on our e-newsletters if you get those. If not, we have that link that Katie put in the slides, redrover.org/fundraisers. So we've really kind of broken down into categories. If you're having a birthday and you want to help raise money in honor of your birthday instead of gifts, if you're racing in an event or having a special event, or just because there's a specific program that means something to you and you want to raise money from your friends and family, we have made that super easy. Visit that webpage. It's really just a couple clicks of a button and you're up and running. And of course, I give you my email. So if there's any questions along the way, I'm always happy to help.
Thanks, Erin. All right, we are going to get ready to transition to our annual audit presentation. Melanie, I'm sorry I ran over. As we do that transition, just open it up if there are any questions, either from folks here in the room with me or anybody virtually with us. Nope. Nope. All good? Okay. All right, I am going to stop sharing my screen, and then Melanie, I'll just have you introduce yourself, and then we'll get into the annual audit, and I'll move my screen a little bit. There we go.
Sure. Hello. Thanks for having me. My name is Melanie Dahl. I'm a senior manager at Gilbert CPAs. I am here filling in for Bobby Hales, your audit engagement partner. She's at a conference this week, and I volunteered to step in. I didn't actually work on your audit this year, but I did work on it, I want to say, between the years of 2014 and 2017.
Yeah. You got some experience
So
with
yeah,
that.
so it's nice to see what you're up to and all the growth that's happened in the last 8 years. All right, so just a little overview of the audit process. We did perform our field work in March, and the audit was issued last week or the week before, and that's really good timing. That indicates that the process went well and was smooth. We do issue 2 documents with the audit. The first one is the required communications, which looks like this. And this document summarizes elements of the audit process and audit results that were required by auditing standards to communicate to the board. The first and probably most important part is this one right here, results of the audit. And we issued an unmodified opinion, which is a clean opinion, meaning to our knowledge, there are no material misstatements in the financial statements. Over on the right side, interactions with management. There are a few required disclosures there, but most importantly, it communicates to you that our team encountered no significant difficulties in dealing with management or other staff in performing and completing the audit. Management was well prepared and cooperative in the process. On the second page, we've got qualitative aspects of accounting practices. It states that significant accounting policies are disclosed in the footnotes to the financial statements. So if you have any questions about the specifics of any major line items on the balance sheet or the income statement, you can go into the footnotes and see what the accounting policies are, followed by RedRover there. And there were no new accounting standards implemented in the current year. So there are no significant changes to the way items are treated in the financial statements compared to last year. Under management's judgments and estimates, there are certain line items in the financial statements that do require estimation. We like to call those out to make sure you know that those numbers are estimates. And the major ones for your financial statements are the collectibility of accounts receivable. Management has to assess whether contributions or other items in receivables are actually collectible. The valuation of investments, useful lives of property and equipment, and the allocation of functional expenses between those programmatic activities and supporting services. All of those contain estimates to a certain degree. And as part of our audit procedures, we assess the inputs and the judgments made by management in preparing those estimates. And we determined that they are reasonable and within standards. Over on results of the audit, we had no significant adjustments or omitted disclosures. So everything was great. And Bobby said that the process was smooth and good. Any questions on that before we move on to the audit report? The second document we issued is the audit report and audited financial statements and footnotes. It looks like this. The first 2 pages are the audit report that we issue. It says again that we issued an unmodified or a clean opinion. And then it goes into a little bit more details about different parties' responsibilities in regard to the audit process. The financial statements are the responsibility of management, and our responsibility is to opine on the financial statements. Page 3 is your statements of financial position or your balance sheet. And you'll see about a $1 million increase in assets between current and non-current assets. That's primarily due to an increase in grants and bequests receivable. There you had more outstanding bequests receivable and grants receivable in the current year. And also there was a positive fair market value change in your investment portfolio. Liabilities remained fairly consistent, and as such, you see about almost $1 million increase in your total net assets. Page 4 is your statement of activities or your income statement. There's about a $600,000 increase in total revenue without donor restrictions, and that's primarily due to a large increase in your bequests or your planned giving received during the current year, and also a smaller increase in contributions and grants in general, and an increase in use of restricted funding.
Mm-hmm.
Your expenses increased about $200,000. That was primarily due to, I think, a net increase of 2 full-time staff members during the year. Restricted revenue did increase, also increased your use of restricted revenue, your use of restricted funds, so that activity in total remained relatively consistent. And you ended the year with an increase in net assets of $550,000. The next 2 pages are your comparative statements of functional expenses. This breaks out your kind of traditional natural categories of expenses here into their functional classification, whether those expenses went to certain programs or supporting services. I won't go into a lot of detail on that, but you can see from this that the largest increase in expenses is in the salaries and benefits category. And page 7 is your statement of cash flows. And you saw an overall decrease in cash and cash equivalents of $103,500. That was a slight decrease in operating cash, $33,000, and then a use of cash in investing activities. And you know, you did have really good operating results, and you're seeing a decrease in operating cash just because a lot of that's still in accounts receivable at the end of the year. After that are your footnotes. Footnote 1 gives an overview of the organization's activities, and then continues on to the accounting policies that I mentioned earlier. So if you have any questions about the organization's accounting policies for any given line item, you can dig into that a little bit. There were no changes from prior year. It's all consistent. No new accounting standards issued. Footnote 2 is liquidity and availability of resources. And this is where we disclose your financial resources available for use in the following period. So it gives it clarifies your financial flexibility in case you had, you know, a really high asset balance that was, say, fixed assets or something that's not liquid, that's not usable. So you have about almost $4.3 million in financial assets that could be available for expenditure in your activities. Whether or not you intend to, you know, spend on your investments is a different question. But generally, we like to see not-for-profit organizations have about 3 to 6 months of operating expenses in this number, and you've got about 8 months. So that's a really healthy liquidity number. And There are other footnotes that give a little bit more detail about your investments, property and equipment. Footnote 6 breaks out your net assets with donor restrictions. So these are your net assets that have been restricted by donors for use in certain programs, if you want additional detail about that. And I think that's the last one I really wanted to call out, unless any of you had questions about specifics on the financial statements or in the footnotes. I'm happy to answer as best I can.
Did you have, this is Antoine Belay here.
Hi,
Did
Antoine.
you have any challenges or concern during the audit process?
No, what I heard from the team was that everything went well, and I can read exactly what Bobby wrote for me here, because I didn't read it earlier. She said, in general, the audit went very well. There were minimal changes in reporting requirements, and we had no difficulties or disagreements with management and staff. Management and staff were well prepared, available for our questions, and provided all requests. Additionally, no audit adjustments were identified. So we can't ask for anything more.
It's an awesome audit.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks, Antoine.
I do have a question,
Sure.
maybe a little bit following on Antoine, and this is just a general process
Sure.
question. It's not a criticism at all. It's
Yeah.
just more of a question of, typically in audits that I've been involved with, and it's usually with a larger board,
Mhm,
that you have an audit committee that works with the auditors.
mhm.
And also the auditors tend to interview the CEO and the
Mhm.
treasurer. So just your thoughts.
We do have an audit committee.
We do have an.
We do have an audit committee, yes. Sorry, go ahead, Melanie.
Oh,
I was gonna say,
Mhm.
I hope you do, because it's required.
Yes, we do. Yeah, no, we
Great.
absolutely have an audit committee, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know who the audit team specifically did those inquiries with, but you're correct, they are required.
Uh-huh.
I'm sure you got asked the required questions,
Mhm.
fraud, etc.
Mhm.
For board inquiries, sometimes we do the treasurer, sometimes we get in touch with the audit committee chair.
okay.
We kind
Oh,
of
I
ask.
thought you said you weren't, that you didn't. So I misunderstood.
Oh,
So- Yeah.
yeah, no, we do have an audit committee and so the audit committee does confer before we bring in Gilbert and say, okay, is everybody good? What
Okay.
questions do we have? That sort of thing. Yes, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, thank you. Any other questions? Okay. I would just share from the staff perspective, they enjoyed working with you all as well. So, I'm not actually in the office when this happens. But the team certainly shared that, they appreciate working with you all. And so I think it feels like a good process, on both sides. So yeah, thank you. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thanks, Antoine.
Great, thank you for having me.
Any other questions for folks? Okay.
Is it
I
time
just wanna
now
say-
to accept the audit, for the board to accept?
I'm sorry, what was that, Antoine?
Is it time now for the board to vote to accept the audit?
Yes, in just a second, Antoine. I'm just gonna stop the recording in just a moment. So hang on tight for 1 second. This concludes our annual membership meeting and our annual audit presentation. So thank you again, Melanie. I'm going to stop the recording